Live action, y'all. We are back. This is session 2 tonight. Let's let some people hop on here. Let's answer some questions. If you have questions, ask now. Because like I said, these videos are going to start being shorter. So get your question answered right this moment. Post your question on here. I will answer it. Let's go right now. Quick question. I like it. Who's this? Ashana Barkley. Exam crackers or Princeton review? That is a really... Hi, Marquise. What is up? All right. Gotta block this guy. I don't know what the deal is with these people. All right. So, exam crackers or Princeton review? Let's see if I can straighten this back out. All right. Exam crackers or Princeton review? That's a really hard question. Which one for your MCAT resources? Easy answer. Exam crackers. Very, very simple. Exam crackers, 1,000%. Exam crackers stuff is light years ahead of where Princeton Review is right now in terms of MCAT. It's just what's happening. Princeton Review used to be my absolute favorite. Their MCAT stuff used to be the bomb, but when the new MCAT came out, Princeton Review kind of fell behind the ball for a time. They may recover in their next version, but their first version after the new MCAT is not up to par, and Exam Crackers is very strong. I like Exam Crackers because they're efficient with their content. They have good strategy. They also have tons and tons of what I love is question-based learning. And if you take my MCAT course, if you guys don't know already, I have a new course, How to Dominate the MCAT, that expensive class. And this course is out of this world. It's very, very affordable, and it goes through in detail all the different companies and what they offer in terms of MCAT and which way you should go. But Exam Crackers is better than Princeton Review for content review, if that's what you're going for. So that is the answer to your question. That's an easy question. I said it was hard, but it's easy. So who asked that question? Ashana, that is your question. I hope that addressed it sufficiently. Oh no, that was Chocolate Kisses. I guess multiple people are answering the same question. Oh, the Berkeley Review or Exam Crackers. I'm sorry, I saw that on there. Berkeley Review is good. Berkeley Review is more regional. I think Exam Crackers has more money and therefore they can dump more into questions. So I kind of like Exam Crackers. I also like the way that they ask. They have like tons of question banks. So I like Exam Crackers. Berkeley Review is also a good product, but I like Exam Crackers, one of my favorites. George D, what is up? I sent you an email right back a little while ground about myself and my situation, was wondering when you can get back to me. So George, I am super behind in emails, but what you can do is resend me your email right now and I'll try to get a look at it real quick and see if I can get you an answer back. Alpho Zera, Dr. Andre, I was wondering what your thoughts were on how to make gap year plans. That's actually a really good question. A lot of students have that problem. And they don't know what to do with their gap year. They don't even know if they should take a gap year, right? They're like, oh my gosh, gap years are the worst, and medical schools aren't going to let me in because then what do I do in my gap year? It's not medically related, and they're going to think that, oh my gosh, I don't care about medical school anymore, and that's what people think about. I actually recommend, this depends, right? So every time you guys ask a question, it really depends on your situation, because the difference between college admissions and pre-med admissions is that with pre-meds, it takes a lot to get into medical school, and you guys have developed vastly different portfolios when applying to medical school, as opposed to when you're applying to college. Everyone's basically the same. Everyone took a bunch of classes. They have a above 4.0 GPA. Everyone's involved in extracurriculars, just what it is. But if you are in college and you're a pre-med trying to go to medical school, it's entirely different, right? You are there's a huge spectrum, traditional, non-traditional, even within traditional, how successful you were in different areas. So how strong all these different areas are. So it really, really depends on what you should do in your gap year. So let's go through like can we do 3 scenarios? Let's do 3 scenarios of what you should do with your gap year. 1, okay? This is for the person who they're a mess, right? So their grades are not where they should be. They're very, very poor academically, right? So their grades are bad. What should they do in their gap year? So they've applied. Well, the first thing is that you should not have applied and use that gap year, right, as you're applying, if you had a bad GPA. That was a trick question. In that first scenario, you should not have a gap year yet. You should actually be using that year to improve your GPA. And a lot of students will try to do this and they'll try to fast track it and just, oh, you know what, my GPA sucks, but it's okay, I'm just going to apply anyway. I like how people are calling me, this guy's calling me a nigger on here on this broadcast. That's real special. Special. You're really hurting me. This guy's daggering my heart right now. Lots of N-words being thrown around. Oh, the pain I feel. I'm so hurt by your words. Thank you, guy. Anonymous character on YouTube. Appreciate it. Anyway, so the first scenario is if your GPA is bad, guys, don't try to rush it. Don't just brush it off. Your GPA really matters. It's the first thing you're going to see about you. So take the time and improve your GPA and get to a point where you're competitive. And I mean seriously competitive, guys. Don't just try to make yourself in your mind feel like, oh, my 2.8 GPA is competitive. It's not. That's the facts. 2.8 GPA, you're not getting into medical school with that. Work on it and you possibly can. So let's talk about the person whose GPA is somewhat low. In your gap year, this is the question I get, is their GPA will be a 3.3-ish, right? And they'll say, oh, you know what? My GPA is kind of on the low side, which 3.3 is, but you still have a shot. And they'll say, should I use my gap year after I apply to take classes and improve it and then send medical schools an update? This is very common. Do not do that. Why? Because think about this. You've spent 4+ years creating your 3.3 GPA. Let's say you go and you ball out and you get a whole bunch of A's in that gap year. Realistically, right? How much is that going to improve your GPA? How much is you getting a couple A's in your gap year going to influence them in terms of an update? Instead, consider your GPA. Your GPA is what it is. If you decide to apply with that 3.3 GPA, that's what it is. Instead, spend your year doing something that you can actually update, right? That's going to be impactful. So do a research project where you can get a publication and say, hey, listen, ignore my low GPA. Check out this publication. I'm going to be an excellent scholar in your school, right? So look for other ways that you can actually improve yourself quickly, right, for your update. So that's the GPA scenario. The second scenario is the person who doesn't have lots of extracurriculars on their application. They had a couple they were involved in, right? And they were kind of good, not the best. So you're a person who needs to improve your extracurriculars. This is definitely a great way to use your gap year if you're someone who's shaky on those grounds. So take the time, figure out, don't start a whole new extracurricular. What you do is you figure out how to quickly, right, and efficiently beef up whatever extracurricular you've already done. So an example of this is if you've been doing research for 3 years and you've got one publication or maybe you have no publications, okay? Take the time and take what you've done in research and figure out how you can spin it into new publications easily. And when I say new publications, what I mean are posters. And a lot of people don't know this, but poster presentations count as publications. So figure out how you can bundle whatever you did in research, whether it's methods, whether it's philosophical stuff, whether it's the lit review you did, whatever you did, take that, type it up, put it on a big piece of poster, submit it to conferences, and get around and present a couple times with your posters. And that will help validate that research even more and really enhance that activity section. Like, hey guys, I saw that I was involved in research. I just wanted to update you guys now that my application's been submitted, that since then, I've gotten 3 additional publications. I've presented here, here, and here. I've won an award for honorable mention medical student or pre-med student at this conference. And I just wanted to update you guys on that and, you know, get your thoughts on all that stuff, right? So that's how you take yourself to the next level. The third thing is the person who has everything together, right? But they took that extra year, their senior year, to really make sure they had everything together, and they're applying at the end of their senior year or whenever, and they have a gap year. If that's you, if your stuff is together, if you got a good GPA, you got a good MCAT, you've got great extracurriculars, your application's on point, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do during your gap year. It's so important. You guys think that you have to go out and save children in your gap year. No, you've worked hard for 4+ years. You've got it together. You're doing your thing. You've done the work. So now enjoy it before you start medical school and you start getting in there in medical school and you start, man, there's a heated debate going on between this guy who keeps calling me the N-word and telling me I'm a rapist and white doctors only. And I love this this harmony we have going on this thread here with this character, the same guy. I don't know. Give me a second, guys. There we go. Okay. So that's like a lot of effort to go through to keep making usernames just to get on here and insult me. But anyway, So the third one is you're all together, right? So if everything's all together, you don't feel the need to continue to do stressful stuff. Take that year and recharge your battery for what's going to be a difficult medical school ahead. And the way you do this is you travel, you have fun, you get with your friends. And I'm proud to say I have a mentee right now who's spending his gap year living in Europe with his new wife, his new bride, and they're out there chilling in Europe, having an excellent year, getting some culture in his gap year. Why? Because he's got all this stuff together. His GPA is strong. His MCAT is good. His extracurriculars are on point. He's active in the community, doing all these types of things. So why should he spend a year suffering when he can be in Europe chilling, which is what he's doing right now? Loving it. And he's going to get in wherever he wants to go. We'll figure out where he finally finishes picking. But that's what he chose to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. No medical school can slide him on that because his stats are so strong, nobody's going to care. So that's the third boat that you guys might be in for your gap year. I hope that makes sense to you guys. That makes sense. Give me a like right now. Let me know that you're on it and that you got it. Yes, Mr. E, I will ignore this guy, who's I don't know, and it's so funny. It's the same guy who's on here. I think all these live streams, it's like he subscribes to my channel just to get on here to insult me. It's really interesting. But thank you guys for your support and being normal human beings on here. So, let's see. Okay, so we did gap year. We'll do one more question on this broadcast. Does athletic performance help in the application? Not necessarily school sports, but more along the lines of, what does that say? Goodness, I wish I could work. More along the lines, I'm sorry. Okay, so does athletic performance help in the application? Not necessarily school sports, but more along the lines of marathons and being a world powerlifting champion. That's impressive to me. Samantha, yeah, just resend it. So Samantha asked me if I saw her email. I probably have not seen it. I am behind in emails, guys, so I'm trying to crank them out as fast as I can. So resend your email. So Brian says, does athletic performance help on your application? This is a big one. Medical schools love athletes. Love them. If you're an athlete, medical school will love you. And why will they love you? Why will they love you? They will love you because as an athlete, what does it take to be a high-level athlete, a marathoner, a world champion in powerlifting? Wow, this guy is for real on here. This guy is serious. Anyway, so what does it take to be an amazing power lifter? What does it take to be a marathoner? What does it take to be a Division I athlete? What does it take? All these things. It takes incredible dedication, right? It takes commitment. It takes hard work. It takes a mindset that's tough, that's willing to go through it, right? That nothing will stop you. And when you have that mindset to excel in sports, it translates over into medical school. They know that you will be hardworking, diligent. You will show up early, be late, and you will have what it takes to excel at medical school because you've shown that when you put your mind to something else, you excel at it. And so they love athletes for that reason. And so when you write about people are always ashamed to put their athletic stuff on there like it's not going to matter. It's hugely impactful. If you've done sports at a high level, it's huge. It's sacrifice. Someone just said sacrifice. Exactly. Are you willing to give up the partying to be at practice, to do things you have to do? Are you willing to do with that full athletic schedule and still get your in the classroom stuff done? So when you bring all these together, man, these are amazing people, athletes that can get it together. So I would say that I would definitely put that on your activities section, but there's two caveats. The first one is that it has to be a verified experience. And what I mean by that is if you're a world-class powerlifting champion, that is verified. If you're a person who likes weightlifting, right, that's not verified. So if you're like, oh yes, I like weightlifting, don't put that on your application. That's a hobby. And I know they tell you to put hobbies and stuff on there, but that's a lie. And I hate to say that, but they don't want to know about your hobbies. They want to know about things that you are interested in. And when they say hobbies, this is how they trick you, right? Again, we're being strategic, seeing between the lines. When they say, tell us about your hobby, what they're not saying, tell us about your hobby. What they really mean is, tell us about something you're passionate about that you do just because you're passionate about it. So for me, in my application, I wrote down the mentoring work I've done, right? Because that technically is a hobby, right? I don't get paid for it, but it's something that I do just to do for no other reason than I like to mentor. So I'm gonna get out there and do it. And so I wrote that about that in my activity section because that was something that was validated because I had been involved in multiple mentorship programs. I could say, listen, I have these many mentees. I've done all these things. So it was something I could put on there, right? I could talk about like my other interests, and I am distracted by what's happening over here in this with this guy. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, so that would be my caveat is make sure that it's something that's legitimate, that it's not just, oh yeah, I play guitar, right? Well, that's great. But everybody who's going to apply is going to write guitar playing on their thing or piano playing. Instead, legitimize your hobby. So what you do, and this is a very simple fix. You guys ready for this? Again, right? Pre-med productivity, this is strategic advice. Here's what we're talking about. So when I say make something, turn something from a passion, from a hobby, into something that's legitimate. Here's how you do it. So let's just say you are a weightlifter. You like to weightlift. That's your thing. But it's not legit. You're not a weightlifting champion. You don't have the talent that whoever asked that question has. But you like weightlifting. So the way you legitimize that in medical school eyes is you go to a school, right? Whether it's a high school, whether it's a junior high, and you establish a weightlifting program. And a lot of these schools, they already have weightlifting things, right? So they have athletic teams, but you go and you volunteer as a strength coach and you put in programs. So you bring to them, hey guys, this is a great workout to help build strength for whatever your sport is. And by bringing these books, right, and these presentations and these things for the school, you've now created a legitimate experience and activity from your hobby. And so on your application, you can write down weightlifting. And instead of weightlifting, you can say strength coach, teacher of strength training. And you put this stuff down, and then you can write about how you were out there helping the kids, and they had bad form, and they got good form, and they like you, and you're inspiring a generation to be healthy, and blah, 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 and you go run it down on your application. That makes your weightlifting stand out. I mentioned there was 2 caveats. So the first one is make it legitimate. So I hope that was strategic. If that was strategic to you guys, that makes sense to you. If you feel like that's going to help you, give me a like right now. Give me a like right now in this moment, right now. I will wait, guys. If that makes sense to you, give me a like and I'll keep going. All right, good. So the second caveat, the first one is make it legitimate. The second one is, you ready for this? Intramural sports is hot garbage. Do not write, I'm an intramural softball co-ed player. Nobody cares. That's terrible. If that's the one, like, and I actually had a student, this is bad, guys, but so I also get a lot of students who reapply. And so someone on there, and this person may be on this stream, it's fine, right? This is what it's about, is about learning from other people's mistakes, right? So someone put on their application as one of their, because you get on the application, you get 3 meaningful activities. As one of their meaningful activities, they put intramural flag football for their sorority. And I was like, no, what did you do? That's terrible, terrible. But they put it on there, and I was like, oh, gosh. Do you think that's going to stand up against other people's most meaningful activities? Do you really think they care about your Alpha Chi Omega sorority flag football league? No, they don't. They don't care. So please don't put your intramural sports on your application. Do not do it, guys. Please, intramural does not count. Club sports counts. Intramural don't, right? Because half you guys know what intramural sports is, right? Like intramural kickball. You guys go out there, everybody's drunk as a skunk, right? You go out, you party before you go to your game. Everyone's got their gear on backwards. Some people are barefoot, right? Some people don't have gloves, like all these things. You guys know what it is, what intramural sports is. So don't let medical schools think that you think that's a real activity. Don't do it to yourself. And yes, I just saw this comment as I finished up there. Hannah, it is quality over quantity every single time. It doesn't pay to be involved in every single activity ever and be at everything if you were nothing at all those events. It's better to have an impact on people. And while we're talking about impact on people, and also after this video, I'm going to put this in the box and link. One of my mentees has an amazing cause that she's raising money for right now. I get no kickbacks from this, but the program is called Undies for Oldies. And what she's done is she created a program where at senior citizen centers, she noticed that the senior citizens did not have fresh underwear and that the underwear was hanging off of them and there were some issues. And so she started a campaign to actually get underwear for these senior citizens. And so I'm going to put a link. She has a GoFundMe, guys. Please, it's an amazing organization she's helped build and kind of spread just beyond her local area. She's now national in multiple states, helping get underwear to these old people who need underwear. So I'll put the link in the box after this. If you guys have time, click the link, donate, give her some cash to help get these old people some underwear. I get no proceeds from that, but it's an amazing cause, and I'm proud to be her mentor. She's a person who works hard. So always supporting other people out there who are helping other people and giving them themselves and giving them their time. So that's that question. So I know there's tons of questions on here, guys, but we are at 21 minutes, and we said 15-minute caps, and I've gone over that. So if you guys want, and you guys let me know right now, you guys comment right now. If you guys want to do one more video, and I'll answer 2 more questions, let me know right now. Comment, yes, I want one more video, and I'll do one more video. We'll do 2 questions, and then we'll be out. We'll be done for the evening. And if you did not get your question answered tonight, guys, I'm serious about this. People who have emailed me their questions, I will get back to you either an email or I will cut a video. I sit here and I cut videos all the time, and they may not be up yet, but these videos are coming. You will get answers to your questions. So have no shame about it. If you don't get your question answered on here, there's no problem in sending me an email and say, hey, I was on the broadcast tonight. I wanted this question answered. You didn't get to it. I'd love to see an answer, and I'll come out and I'll answer a video. The reason I did the extracurricular video earlier tonight is because someone sent me a YouTube stream about extracurriculars and doing those, and so I'm on here to answer their question. So please, if you don't get your question answered right now, get on the next one and try to answer it and try to ask it. But if that doesn't happen, you can always email me. All right? So we're going back right live right now because enough of you guys said yes. We're going to come back right live right now. I'm on here answering more of you guys' questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. One more session. Let's go. It's Friday. All right.